one control that we want to talk about is strong leadership, specifically a qualified information security leader. This has become the phrase du jour. We'll get into that in a second, but it also makes sense. There was a great quote from Deloitte a couple years ago that says, how a security program is planned, executed, and governed is likely as important as how much money is devoted to cybersecurity. You want to make sure you have a dedicated expert, someone with experience in information security, leading your program. One of the biggest mistakes we see is merging IT and information security. They are not the same thing. Your IT experts are not cybersecurity experts, and it may be the case that vice versa is true. They are different specialties, just like a podiatrist is not a cancer doctor. Two different specialties. And also just sometimes having the checks and balances can really help make sure you have a strong program as well, especially if you outsource your IT. Again, we're also seeing compliance and contractual requirements. So for example, the FTC safeguards rule, which applies to non-banking financial institutions, now requires that you have a single qualified individual that oversees your cybersecurity program. And what do we mean by that? And by the way, the FTC safeguards rule applies to all kinds of non-banking financial institutions. It can apply to college and universities that accept federal financial aid. It can apply to auto dealerships, mortgage brokers, accountants, and tax preparers. So these are a wide range of organizations that suddenly need to identify a qualified individual. And unfortunately, qualified individuals, there are not that many of them out there. Cybersecurity is one of those new collar industries, new collar jobs. And so it's been hard for dealerships and again, tax preparers, universities to get access to these qualified individuals. The good news is you do not necessarily need to have a full-time person in that role. As we'll talk about in a minute, there's a lot of outsourcing happening that is making it more accessible to people, which is good. We're also seeing some gaps in supporting staff as well. So there's a cybersecurity staffing shortage, and that is increasing risk. According to a survey by ISC Squared, 54% of organizations say that they are experiencing moderate risk increase because of a staffing shortage, and then 20% have extreme staffing shortage, those that have, extreme risk because of a security staffing shortage. So when you're looking for a cybersecurity leader, look for someone with actual cybersecurity experience, not just certificates. I like to look for somebody who has blue team experience in IT, as well as familiarity with risk assessments, really strong experience in IT, familiarity with risk assessments, controls frameworks, reviewing the results of technical testing, things like that. According to IBM's cost of a breach, it reduces the average cost of a breach by almost $145,000. And obviously, it's going to reduce the risk of a breach happening as well. You do not need to hire a full-time CISO. You can absolutely outsource this and other security positions. So don't struggle and don't think you need to budget a huge amount of money for a full-time person. Fractional CISO is totally reasonable, especially for small to mid-sized organizations.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, this is Sherry Davidoff, CEO of LMG Security. If you have any questions, please reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at info@lmgsecurity.com or find us on LinkedIn and follow us on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.